The scenario you describe is a very intense and speculative one, seemingly highlighting a potential large-scale military confrontation between Iran and Israel, along with international involvement. It references airspace closures, emergency evacuations, missile deployments, and potential strikes on military and leadership headquarters, all of which suggest heightened tensions and the potential for a major conflict. In real-world geopolitical terms, Iran and Israel have long been at odds, especially over Iran's nuclear program and Israel's security concerns. Escalations like missile strikes, military alerts, and even covert or overt actions have occurred in the past, but full-scale conflict has generally been avoided due to the potential for widespread regional and international consequences. The inclusion of countries like Russia, China, and the US also highlights the global dimension of any such conflict. Major powers often have strategic interests in the Middle East, and their citizens' safety and international diplomacy play a large role in such crises. This text implies a worst-case scenario where an all-out war breaks out between Iran and Israel, with potential devastating consequences. Do note, however, that real-time information is crucial in such cases, and the latest developments would need to be checked from reliable sources to understand the current situation accurately. If you're looking for confirmation or updates on actual events, I can search for real-time information. Would you like that? If the situation you've described continues to unfold, an all-out war between Iran and Israel would have serious and far-reaching consequences. Both countries are militarily well-equipped, with Israel maintaining significant air power, advanced missile defense systems such as the Iron Dome and David Sling, and a reportedly sophisticated nuclear arsenal. Iran, on the other hand, has a powerful missile force, regional proxies such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, and asymmetric warfare tactics that could destabilize not just Israel, but the broader Middle East. Potential scenarios. 1. Missile strikes and air raids. If Israel targets key military and leadership sites in Iran, as suggested, Iran's response could be swift and harsh. Iran has the capacity to launch a large number of missiles at Israeli cities and military sites, potentially overwhelming Israel's missile defense systems. Israel's Air Force, one of the most advanced in the world, would likely retaliate with widespread airstrikes targeting missile silos, military infrastructure, and strategic assets within Iran. 2. Proxy warfare. Iran's regional allies, particularly Hezbollah in Lebanon, could be activated to open another front against Israel. Hezbollah has thousands of rockets and missiles capable of striking deep within Israel. This could lead to widespread destruction in northern Israel, prompting Israeli ground or air operations into Lebanon, further escalating the conflict. 3. Broader regional involvement. Countries like Syria, Iraq, and even Yemen, through Iran-backed high forces, could become theaters of conflict, as Iran's network of militias and proxies might attempt to stretch Israel's military resources. This would destabilize much of the Middle East, possibly dragging in other countries such as Saudi Arabia, which views Iran as a regional adversary. 4. Global repercussions. The involvement of the US, Russia, and China adds another layer of complexity. The U.S. has long been an ally of Israel and might provide logistical, intelligence, or even direct military support. Russia and China, while more aligned with Iran, may push for diplomatic solutions but could be drawn into the conflict indirectly if their interests are threatened. Economic and humanitarian impact. A conflict of this scale would likely disrupt global oil supplies, leading to economic shocks worldwide. The humanitarian crisis could be devastating, with thousands of casualties, displaced populations, and widespread destruction. International organizations like the UN might call for ceasefires, but on the ground, the situation could spiral out of control. The surprise Iran alludes to, Iran's leadership, as referenced in your scenario, hints at a potential surprise attack that could surpass conventional warfare. While this could be bluster, it's possible Iran is referring to cyber warfare, advanced drone technology, or even a strategic alliance with other regional players that could shift the balance. Another frightening prospect is the use of unconventional weapons, though this remains highly speculative. The role of the US and major powers. If Joe Biden and his administration were to convene an emergency meeting, it would likely focus on protecting U.S. interests and citizens in the region while weighing the potential benefits and costs of direct intervention. The U.S. could impose further sanctions on Iran, bolster Israel's military defense, or even attempt a diplomatic de-escalation through back channels. However, if Israel goes ahead with a preemptive strike on Iranian leadership or military targets, Biden may have no choice but to support Israel militarily, given the close ties between the two nations. Conversely, the U.S. might also push for restraint to avoid a larger war that could engulf the entire region and strain American military resources. Russian and Chinese involvement. Russia's call for its citizens to leave Israel could signal that Moscow expects major escalation and wants to distance itself from the conflict. Russia has complex relationships with both Iran and Israel, and while it may not directly intervene, it would likely offer diplomatic support to Iran while pushing for a negotiated settlement. China, as a rising global power with interests in Middle Eastern energy supplies, would probably focus on evacuating its citizens and pushing for regional stability. China's involvement would likely be diplomatic rather than military, as it seeks to avoid entanglement in volatile conflicts that could disrupt its global trade and economic ambitions. Conclusion: if the situation truly escalates into a full-blown war between Israel and Iran, with other powers involved, the consequences would be catastrophic not just for the region, but for the global order. Middle Eastern conflicts tend to draw in multiple actors due to the region's geopolitical importance, and a war of this scale would destabilize global markets, trigger humanitarian. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel.